If it wasn't for Morse Toad, we never would have won the war. It's a good thing the
Which one?
soldiers picked it
Which
up
war
in the
was that?
swamps of Louisiana. Secret way that
Oh my God, I'm burning up now.
Oh, Lewis is leaving. Great. Just what we need. And we're live.
Give me the tweet.
Oh, you want the tweet?
The zeet, I believe I am now supposed to say.
Oh my goodness. I
So
could do a whole
cold.
hour on Twitter changing to x.com. I
It
won't.
is so cold and windy here that I can crack my window like only about a half an inch. Otherwise, I'll be freezing by the end of the show.
All right. We're live, guys, by the way.
Oh!
And we're live. You want the tweet action? I mean,
Yeah.
the
Been
Zeet
waiting all
action?
morning for it.
God, what are the
The X.
what are they going to be called?
Tweets.
My newest X, my re-X.
God,
It's so bad.
this is the worst move yet.
I just think it's an epically weird move to change from such an established brand. It's just like when HBO changed to Max. Like, you take something that is sealed into the minds of the zillions, and you change it to something that makes no sense. It's like X, so what are we supposed to call the messages now, and how's all that supposed to work? I just think the whole thing's weird. What do you think,
On the other
Chad?
hand, home box office. What a goofy.
Yeah, but they transcended that. It's like KFC.
I mean,
No one knows what it means
well, yeah. Except Kentucky Fried Chicken actually sounds interesting. Home box office.
Well, it's the box office at home back when you
What
could
about
only see
horrible
movies-
BO?
Well, that meaning I think is probably more appropriate for the people that you know, but or your bar friends. Your bar mates would probably think that's what it means. All right, you want the tweet action? I'll give you the tweet action. Here
Please.
it comes.
Oh my God,
I'm gonna call it a tweet from here on into forever. I don't care. Tweet action has been tweeted. Griffin, I'm posting it right up here. There you go.
Good.
Did
Good
it work?
grief.
There we go. There it is. Hey, everyone. We are getting ready to start. Shout out to Dr. Gurr. Dr. Gurr. I think we should just dive right into it because I got to be walking my sweet buns out the door in 70 minutes. So if you guys don't mind, we can't just wait for the hundreds of thousands of people to show up. They'll have to show up while we're doing the show. Let's go ahead and just get this thing rolling. And let me cue up Mrs. You-Know-Who. Oh, Mrs. D. Mrs. D, how are you? Oh, I made that Dr. Gurr sound with El Caney last night. Oh, God. Good for him, huh? Oh, yes, it was very sensual. Oh, good grief. She never leaves it out. You always know exactly what she means. Mrs. D, if you don't mind, we don't want to hear about your escapades with Andy Kenny. It grosses us all out. So let's just go ahead and get this show rolling. We got a lot of Apple news to cover today and not a lot of time to do it. So if you don't mind, I'll get the music queued up and we'll get going in 3, 2. Hello and welcome to CultCast, the best 30-plus minute Apple conversation you're going to hear all week long. I'm your host, Derek from Lash. Join me today. The state of California has ordered him to cease tattooing the Cult of Mac writers with their identification codes. Bureaucrats. Which is fine because he's been considering in-hand NFC chips with GPS for easier track downs. He's the manager of Lewis Walls is here.
Hope I don't ever face prosecution for any of this.
Also with us, he's been playing with hair dyes, prosthetic noses, and quick costume changes in case Lewis Wallace comes looking for him and he needs to disappear. He's a writer at Cult of Mac. Griffin Jones is here. I'm not going to complicate it.
Good evening.
You know?
I mean, there are other superlatives you can use.
Yeah.
Tallest hair.
I think you have the tallest hair, dude. Look at this.
Of Cult of Mac writers.
Oh, the Cult of Mac writers. Okay, that's off.
He's
That's
I mean,
Occasionally written
it's a
something.
pretty low bar, honestly.
yeah. That much is true. That much is true. Although I haven't seen the other Cult of Mac writer hairstyles, so I don't know. Is everyone flattering you?
I guess I haven't independently confirmed a good journalist as to the height of their hairs, but I have. I mean, if their profile pictures are to be believed.
Because I have never even seen Rajesh. I don't even know what he looks like.
Hmm.
He could have tall hair, man. You should check on that. I mean, I know you got El
Yeah,
Kenny.
might have some competition.
Plus, he doesn't write anymore anyway.
Unexpectedly.
So, all right, everyone, we got a lot.
jeez.
We got a lot of stuff to cover. This episode, let's see here. Oh man, where are my notes? There we go. Oh yeah, we got more iPhone 15 leaks. Apple's considering some. I would say if this actually comes to fruition, big price increases, like slap you in the face price increases. I hope this doesn't happen. We have a lot of details on the action button coming to iPhone 15 Pro. We've talked about that before. We weren't even sure if this was going to happen, but it just showed up in iOS 17 code. So it looks like this is a sure thing, and we'll tell you what you'll be able to do with this button. I think it's actually going to make the phone a lot more useful. We've got an update on the camera. We've got an update on Vision Pro AR, which I'm sure no one will care about. Where else? Griffin's going to tell us a major iPhone or Apple Watch hack that will tell you how to tell time without even looking at your watch. How could you possibly do that? Well, we'll let you know. And then I think Griffin and I are going to spend about 5 to 7 minutes arguing over why you should switch to Apple Music, or in my case, definitely not switch to Apple Music. So we'll probably wrap up the show with that. I don't know. Maybe you'll convince me. One of these days, you might get me. Spotify just raised their prices. So I think now they are more expensive than Apple Music. It might be time to think about switching. There are some things about Apple Music I do love. I have to say, there are some features that Apple Music has that I really like. But there's one feature that Spotify has locked down that Apple just has not been able to touch. We can talk about all that. Before we dive in, I want to say thank you to Squarespace for supporting this episode. You've been listening to the CultCast for, 11 years now? And you're just a major slacker. You've done nothing. You've made no progress with your business. Your love life is in disarray. You want to become a popular tech blogger. You haven't done it yet. This is your chance, my friends. You can improve all those areas of your life. You can be the writer that you've always wanted to be. You could be the lover that you always wanted to be. Right, Lewis?
Yeah, I'm sure anything's
I
possible.
don't know if that's the business Squarespace is in, but
Hey, it's not their business. It's not about their business. It's about your business. And if you're ready to get your business off the ground, Squarespace is there to help you do that with a beautiful website that is going to bring in the customers. It's going to help you get your calendar in order. People will be able to book time with you, pay you for that time. You can start a members-only website where you can have people pay for your presence. You can grow your online business so easily. If you need any extra proof, just go to coolcloth.co. See the cleaning cloth empire that I've built on the Squarespace platform. I mean, hundreds of orders coming in every minute. How do they handle it? They've got the server capacity, I'll tell you that much, because all the orders come in flawlessly. They integrate with all the services that I need to actually run my business. So I'm not just a Squarespace promoter. I'm a user, and I like it. I pay for it every month. They don't give it to me for free, and it just makes running my business so easy. And you can sell digital products. You can sell physical products. You can create a blog to compete with Cult of Mac. I mean, good luck with that.
No!
You think that your blog is gonna compete with Cult of Mac? Well, maybe from a UI, UX perspective, because Squarespace has beautiful templates. But from a content perspective, get out of here. Although you can bring in writers and collaborators to help you with your Squarespace website, so you don't even have to do any of the work. That is the El Caney model. He just sits at the top. He enjoys all the fruits. Everyone else below him does all the work. That could be you. And if you're ready to get started, head on over to squarespace.com/cultcast. Build a website, see how you like it. At the end of your 2-week trial, if you want to continue your service, just use code CultCast at checkout. You'll get 10% off your first purchase. If you do a year of service, which is what I do, you get an additional discount. And it's a really, really great price, especially for what you get. It's just everything you could possibly want all mixed into one website, squarespace.com/cultcast. Make sure you use offer code CultCast at checkout. All right, my friends, who's first? Because I've already forgotten. I think it's me. Oh, yes, it is. Are you ready for a absolutely bonkers price increase for iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max? I hope so, because my Apple sense is tingling, and I think it might be time. I don't know if it's going to be massive across all the phones, but I would expect that we're going to get price hikes on at least like the $50 level. would be my guess on the regular iPhone 15 Pro. But let's see here. As the story goes, Apple is mulling raising prices for the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max in the U.S. The company has yet to make a final decision on the matter. Interestingly, a Bloomberg report says Apple has decided to produce the same number of iPhone 15 units as last year, or as the last few years. This is despite the slowdown in smartphone sales worldwide and the demand remaining lukewarm in the coming quarters. Apple, however, has been mostly immune to this as iPhone sales have grown worldwide over the previous year. While the company didn't raise prices in the U.S. last year, even though the parts became more expensive, Apple did raise prices in many countries. In fact, some of the prices are bonkers. I mean, I don't even know how they sell iPhones in Brazil. They're so expensive there. They've also had other cost-saving measures to pad TC's pockets, like removing the charger from the box to save on packaging and transportation costs and component
They're saving
prices.
the planet, Irfan. One charger at a time.
Yeah, that's another way to describe it. You know, I love when marketing people come up with stuff like that. I was looking at this house that I was interested in the Washington area, and it had a really tiny yard, like just almost nothing there, and it had pavers in this really tiny yard, so you could like go sit on the patio. And the listing said low maintenance yard. I was like, yeah,
It's true.
because there's nothing there. There's nothing there to maintain, so it's very low maintenance because you have no yard. So it's all about your perspective, right? Well, the iPhone 15 Pro, while I expect a smaller price increase there, it's not going to be as max as the iPhone 15 Pro Max, which there was an analyst that said that the price increase might be $200 on that phone, which would be bonkers. Who is the analyst here? Does it say? Tim Long, an analyst with Barclays, predicts the iPhone 15 Pro Max will increase by either $100 or $200, possibly bringing the cost to $1,299. I'd be surprised if we got all the way to $200. That's a big increase. But $100, I would be surprised if we didn't get price increases yet, this year. Because remember, we were expecting these last year, and we were surprised that they didn't happen. But, you know, inflation just keeps going up. Component prices just keep going up. Apple's component prices keep going up. And, you know, TC, if there's one thing he loves aside from his Thanksgiving celebration meal, it's raising prices and getting that sweet gravy coming in. You know what I'm saying, Lewis? And I think TC's ready for some extra gravy on this iPhone.
Oh, heavens.
So if we don't get a price increase this year, I will be surprised. Let's hear. The top-of-the-line iPhone has stayed steady at $1,099 since the iPhone 11 Pro Max debuted 4 years ago. I didn't realize it was that long ago. And that was a price decrease. The earlier iPhone XS Max, the tennis match, a.k.a., was $1,249. I did not realize that. We're definitely getting some price increases this year. What do you think, Lewis? $1,299 on an iPhone 15 Pro Max? Is that too rich? Too rich for Lewis Wallace?
That sounds like a lot of extra money.
Plus tax?
I mean, I'm already feeling slightly ripped off isn't the right word, but I sort of feel like a sucker with the iPhone upgrade program every year when it's like, oh, this phone is slightly different than the one last year, which works just fine. I don't know, man. What are they talking about putting in this iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max? Talking about like a titanium body, 3-nanometer chip that's much faster.
Action button.
What
Action button that you're going to tell us about later. The periscope camera that we talked about last week, you know, which admittedly does sound like it'll be expensive to manufacture. It's the first time Apple's done something like that.
And that's designed to make the camera hump smaller.
Yeah.
Which would be great.
We'll see about that.
I would love to have a smaller hump.
Yeah. I would too. Because the one that's on there right now, it's crazy, man. It's way too large. It's been way too large for a long time, and you can only make it so big before people just start dropping the phones because they're so top heavy. You know?
Yeah, it just doesn't sit flat on the surface at all.
It doesn't do that. Although it does.
I'm always hanging it off the edge of things.
Oh, that's right, because you use yours without a case.
That's not true. Got a case on it. Still do it.
Oh,
I don't like having it sitting like a ramp.
Because, I'm surprised that your case doesn't balance it out like my case does. You know, like, look at my case.
Well,
just
yeah, you got a
the thing is,
bumper.
It used to be that you could very easily, like pretty much any case would cover up the bump on like the iPhone 6, but now the case is so thick that like you have to get a pretty dang thick case to be able to make it perfectly flat now.
Yeah, that's actually what I hate about this case. I know I've said this like 1,000 times, but like you could see like to compensate. So I have this bumper from Rhino Shield, which I love. Super protective. I've dropped this phone so many times and it always comes out unscathed. But you can see in order to compensate for this larger camera hump, they just make the whole case thicker. And so it makes a lot of sense when it's around the camera hump. But for the rest of the phone, you have like this huge lip. I mean, this is probably 1/4 of an inch sticking out around the phone. I really didn't like that when I got the phone. I still don't love it, but it actually gives it more of a grip. So I don't dislike it as much as I used to.
It's as thick as a novella, but it doesn't slice your hand.
Yeah.
I actually think Google's approach to this problem is kind of interesting. They put all of the cameras like in a row along the whole top so that the whole camera bump still means the phone sits flat without a case.
Yeah, you know what? I think that'd be a pretty cool implementation as opposed to having it all in the top corner. That would make it a little bit more symmetrical, but, I don't know. They would still be protruding from the phone quite a bit, which I wouldn't love. I would love to see this thing.
And then there's no way to hold the phone horizontally without covering up at least one of the cameras with your greasy fingers.
Yeah, well, my fingers are clean and, ungreased, but for you guys, I totally get that. Well, let's talk a little bit more about what you're getting with iPhone 15 Pro, because if you're going to pay a higher price, it better have some features to warrant that price. Am I right, guys? And it looks like we have some more details on the action button, which we've talked about here a lot, but didn't really have a lot of details for until recently when the iPhone or the iOS 17 beta just came out, and they made some discoveries that you all might be interested in. Who is this?
What?
Lewis Wallace. I should have known.
Yeah.
I was waiting for the long pause to end, and I was like, whose turn is it here?
I was waiting for you to stop talking. I was wondering if it was going to happen.
Lewis, how long have we been doing this show together?
Quite some time.
You know I don't stop. I just keep going. You guys just barrel roll.
Yeah, so you remember that bright orange action button on the Apple Watch Ultra? Some people love it, some people hate it, but the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max might come with something similar. They found buried in the latest iOS 17 beta new bits of code that hint at an action button. Could have 9 different options that users can customize and assign to different actions. This report comes from Mac Rumors. They say this is expected to be a new physical button on the next generation Pro iPhone models that replaces the ring/silent switch. The action button would allow users to quickly access various functions and settings without necessarily unlocking the device or navigating to an app. Okay, and so these stuff that they found in this it's iOS 17 developer beta 4. There's lists of feature names related to an action button. And so they kind of guessed at what these might do. The things that are mentioned are accessibility, shortcuts, silent mode, camera, flashlight, focus, magnifier, translate, and voice memos. Some of those sound super helpful. Other ones maybe not as much. But the point is you'd be able to just press that button and that app would open and you'd be able to use it, which would be awesome for like the camera, for instance. I think that would be great.
Oh, flashlight too.
Flashlight, yeah. The thing that isn't really mentioned here is like, as with Apple Watch Ultra, do you have to just pick one and leave it at that? I think it would be awesome if they could make it so that you could be able to like tap it twice quickly for something else, right? You set camera for 1, flashlight for 2. I don't know. What was it? Translate. That's kind of an interesting one. Like you probably put that on when you go on vacation, right? Take off the voice memo, because who wants to use voice memos on vacation? No one.
Or ever.
Nobody does.
I don't think you should discount how awesome it would be if you can launch any shortcut by pushing a button on the side of the phone. That would be really powerful because, I mean, if you're not familiar, you can do pretty much anything with shortcuts. Like you can have, like for all of the other features where you might be thinking, oh, I wish I could program the button to do, to open this app and run this thing and set my phone to dark mode and change this setting and, whatever that. Well, if you can just build all of that into a shortcut and then assign that shortcut to the side button, and then you could do pretty much anything else you would imagine wanting to do with it. That'd be pretty powerful.
I think this feature makes way more sense on the iPhone than it does on the Apple Watch. In fact, I almost never use it on my Apple Watch. And I have the Ultra, and there have been times where I have just turned it off because with the Apple Watch, the way the button is positioned, I accidentally press it all the time. All the time. So finally I set it to be a stopwatch since that was like the least offensive function that could be accidentally triggered. And I cannot tell you how many times per week I look down and my timer is on like 85 hours because it's just been going because I accidentally pressed it. Whereas before I had it on the flashlight and obviously my flashlight was turning on all the time. And I don't think there's any way to orient the watch in a way where you don't accidentally press it when you're turning your wrist upwards like that. If your phone slides or if your watch slides down your wrist and you accidentally, or you press your hand up, it gets pressed really easily.
But you're wearing your watch on your right wrist instead of your left one.
You could wear
if
your
you wear it
watch
on the other
right
wrist,
wrist.
then if you wear it on the other wrist, then the action button will be facing the rest of your arm, and you'll have the crown guard that prevents your wrist from pressing the side button.
Well, yeah, but
you just have to switch hands.
Even doing it that way, you can see like the action button. There it is, right? It's not protected by the guard that is on the other side, which I obviously can't show you because it's impossible to show someone your Apple Watch. So even if I flip it around,
doesn't bend the other way.
No, it doesn't. But when you turn your wrist up, it digs into both sides of your wrist, and the button is positioned so far down on the watch that it really doesn't take very much skin fold to accidentally activate it. So I tried.
He's wearing it wrong. He's wearing it wrong.
I tried it the other way, and I still had the same issue. I don't think it was as bad, but I still had the same issue. So it's just the button placement without any protection around the actual button makes it easy to press. Look, all I'm saying is I don't think you'll have that problem on the iPhone. And so you'll be able to have a button that turns on your most used functions with just a single click. That's pretty useful. IMO.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if you could do more than one, too, it'd be fantastic. And it seems like the iPhone would be way more possible, right? Like single, double, triple click, as opposed to like on the watch, it's kind of hard. I mean, the watch, it's made for like turning on your special workout when you've got ski gloves on or whatever, right? I mean, it's made for activities as opposed to like, I mean, you don't really maybe do that many things on Apple Watch. Let's put it that way. Whereas iPhone, you do everything.
That's right. Look, I've got some backup here in the chat. We got Streamlined. He says, I hit my action button all the time, too, and I have it on my left side. So there you go.
He's wearing it right?
haters.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Also, when you press the crown, this happens to me all the time. When you press the crown, when you grab the watch, you accidentally press the action button. And that's true because on the Ultra, the crown is at the top right. Well, depending on the orientation of your wrist, it might be bottom left.
Whatever way, it's on the opposite side. Yes. You would brace it with your other finger. It's
diagonal from the action button. So no matter what way you do it, when you grab it with your thumb and your finger, your finger that's not pressing the crown is always resting on the action button. So it's easy to accidentally press it. It's too easy to press it. So it makes it less useful. And hopefully that won't be a problem on the phone. But also, as you said, it's just going to be more useful because it's your phone and not a watch. It was weird to launch it on the watch before the phone, to be honest, because it makes more sense on the phone than it does on the watch. Like, it seems like it should be coming to the watch and not to the phone. But here we are. It's
I wonder if it's going to be bright orange on the iPhone.
I truly hope not. That is one thing about the Ultra that I hate is those stupid bright orange accents on the crown and the action button. Because 99.9% of the people who use the watch are not going to be out in a blizzard and are not going to be underwater.
Traversing the Sahara.
Yeah, exactly. And not only that, but like even if you were in the ocean, deep sea diving, like are you actually going to be able to see? Do you really need to be able to see that orange? Does it help you that much to identify the buttons? I don't know, man. I'm not a deep sea diver.
Like with the Series 3 watch, I was willing to give Apple the extra money for the cellular model of the watch, but I intentionally avoided it because I didn't want the giant freaking red dot on the side. Remember that?
Yes.
When the cellular watches had the giant red dot?
Yes. I could not agree with you more. That was such an aesthetic offense to put a giant red ring on that watch, which clashed from a color perspective against the very watch it was on, And from all the bands that you put on, I thought that was a bizarre design decision, and I avoided it for the same reason. I really did not like the aesthetic of it. The orange on the Ultra is not as offensive, but it is close. Like I don't like that it's orange, but it's not as bad as red anyway. This orange actually does match with more stuff, and at least it matches with the watch itself, which is more than I can say for the actual red on the Apple Watch, like the cellular versions. Yeah, well, yeah. So Isaac from the chat, at least now it's a thin red ring instead of a big dot. I know that, but I still think it's ugly.
They could still make it black, you know?
Yes. Yeah, make it a color.
They could just do
why
that.
does it have to be red?
Mm-hmm. And of all the colors, why red? Red is objectively the worst color.
Yeah, I might be with you on that. I really don't love red. I mean, I would drive a red Ferrari if you gave me one, like a Lamborghini Testarossa. No, a Ferrari Testarossa, like the one Magnum PI used to drive. That's the only red I would be interested in. All other reds, not a fan. Sorry, I know that your watch is red, isn't it?
I hope you guys never run into Sammy Hagar in a dark alley.
Well, yeah, I hope that for many reasons. You know, not just because he wears red. Let's see here. Before we continue, I do want to give a thanks to a new sponsor here. And if you're someone who likes to be organized, if you are someone who writes, if you're someone who likes to project manage and be detail-oriented, I think this is going to be something that you will really want to check out. I've been using it, and it has been a really powerful ally in content creation and staying organized. And the app is called Notion. Let me see if I can bring this up here. Notion is a app that combines your notes, your documents, your tasks, your project management into one space that's simple and beautifully designed. And they have a really powerful AI element that is woven into it that allows you to do all of this stuff. And did I mention documents? It's also a place where you can write documents, your document repository. And with their Notion AI, instead of constantly copying and pasting notes between an AI tool and the document that you're working on, Notion lets you use their AI automations right inside your documents and notes. You can provide a prompt, and poof, Notion AI will write your whole document, summarize notes, create action items, create task lists, create summaries, takeaways from notes and documents, and more. You can even compose a document and then use Notion AI to change the tone of the document. So you can give your document a different voice. Like you want it to have a more confident voice. You want it to have a more casual voice. Isn't that interesting? Notion AI helps you work faster, write better, and think bigger, doing tasks that normally take you hours in just seconds. They have apps for iPhone, Mac, PC, and web. So it's beautifully cross-platform, which I really appreciate. And it's funny, I'm on their webpage right now, and I was scrolling down, and I was like, you got to be kidding me. Check this out, Lewis. Check this out. Can I find this? Where's the section? There we go. Check out this quote from a reviewer. It's the slickest, most practical implementation of generative AI for text that I've used to date. The Verge. Check out the writer. See that guy? Alex E. Heath. The Verge.
Deputy editor of The Verge. Wow.
They even got Heath involved. Oh, Heath. I won't hold it against him. But
it's
he's
fantastic.
Right. As much as I love to disagree with Alex E. Heath, I can't. Because he's right. It is the most practical implementation of generative AI I've seen. Like, the example that kept coming to mind, it was like, you know, when Apple took DOS and turned it into like a point-and-click interface, that is what Notion has done for generative text AI. Like when you're going through, it has these really beautiful menus that you can use to interact with your text and use their AI, which if you're using other AI systems, everything is like command prompts and stuff. And you still have to use prompts, don't get me wrong. But to manipulate your data, it's much easier. Like for instance, and this is kind of a crazy feature, you can have it write your entire document and then summarize it into bullet notes, or you can create like a paragraph and then say, hey, expand this into a longer document, and it will actually create a longer document for you. And all of this stuff lives inside your Notion app along with your tasks. You can create boards to manage your different projects. I mean, it's super powerful. And it's free to use. You can try Notion AI for free when you go to notion.com/Notion. Notion.com/cultcast. That's all lowercase letters. Notion.com/cultcast to try out the incredible power of Notion AI today. And when you use our link, you're supporting the show, but you also get Notion AI for free. And that is at notion.com/cultcast. Try it out. Let me know what you guys think. I've been using it a ton, and I really like it. I'm actually thinking about completely switching out of Apple Notes and just using this, going forward because it's so powerful. And then you get all the AI elements as well. And that is notionai.com/cultcast. Try it out for free. You can use it for free. All right, let's move on. Where are we? I've completely lost my place. Should we talk
I'll do a good
about
segue here.
Should we talk about other
yeah,
features of the iPhone, Griffin?
We were talking about how the iPhone 15 Pro is going to get more expensive, how it might have all these extra features. Well, what if you don't want to spend an extra $200? Well, on the regular iPhone 15 models, you might be getting the same 48 megapixel camera that you can currently get this year on the iPhone 14 Pro. So the 48 megapixel camera, if you're not aware, it's like double the sensor size, so you can get like these incredibly high resolution raw pictures on the 14 Pro. And the other awesome thing is that even though they no longer have the 2x telephoto lens, because the sensor is so high resolution, you can still get an optical telephoto zoom picture because it just crops in on the same sensor that it uses on the main camera. It's a really awesome camera lens. And it's coming to the iPhone 15. It's making its way to the standard iPhone 15 and iPhone 15 Plus, according to a trusted analyst. Drumroll, please. Ming-Chi Kuo. We all knew it was coming.
The only guy who gets anything right, besides Gary.
Yeah. He says the wide camera CIS, which is an abbreviation I've never heard of for camera image sensor. You could just say camera sensor. I don't feel like that needs its own abbreviation. Anyways, the wide camera CIS of the two iPhone 15 standard models will be upgraded to the 48 megapixel and adopt the new stacked CIS design, he says. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's all the news. But this could be incredible. So, as we all know, well, as very few of us know, any of us who have had to be subjected to the ramblings of the iPhone mini apologists in the past know the worst part about the iPhone mini is that it didn't have a good camera system. It didn't have the 2x lens that the Pro models had, because it was too small. It only had two lenses, and Apple only gave it the normal lens and the ultra wide lens. That is, personally, that's what kept me from getting the iPhone mini all along. I ended up with the 12 Pro. I don't like it very much. Long story short, I don't feel like I've really loved any iPhone since my iPhone 5S. That felt like the last totally uncompromised phone that I just unabashedly loved since then. Because every phone I've had since then has felt compromised in some way. The 7 Plus was just way too big to get the good camera system. The 12 Pro, it's just heavy and it's made out of this heavy metal instead of aluminum for just arbitrary reasons to make it look shinier. I feel like the iPhone mini is one of the biggest missed opportunities, and Apple axed it in place to make space in the lineup for the 14 Plus, which isn't even selling very well anyways, as we've all been hearing stories about. They cut production on that. For what? Well, they
probably
the technology is possible. The technology is possible. Well, look, with the 48 megapixel sensor, they could bring that ultra nice sensor to the smaller iPhone without compromising its design, and we would all be happy. That is the dream iPhone that I would love to have. Maybe this is a step in that direction. Am I crazy?
You're not crazy, man. I there's plenty of space in my heart for a mini. I'm kind of surprised that they cut it and didn't just add the plus size phone, but I also know that people just like plus size phones. It's like SUVs and trucks. People love big cars. People love big phones. And so clearly that's what's selling well for Apple. And so they thought that they would capitalize on that, since there's not very many people that seem to love the mini phones. Although the people that love mini phones really love mini phones. It's like the people that love HomePods, the original HomePods especially. Like Buster Heine, who used to be on the show, he also loved mini phones. That was just his thing. He just loved having mini phones. Now you can see a couple things here just real quick. While you were talking, I added the chat to the actual window so people can actually see what's going on in the chat.
Whoa.
Isn't that amazing? The technology exists, Lewis.
What
just don't
century are we living in?
Just don't say anything in the chat that's going to make me regret this decision, although I guess I could turn it off quickly. But it's funny because Jason Arredondo said regular iPhone 15 laugh cry face. This is the pro chat, sir. There's no one listening to this show that's going to go with a regular iPhone. I would actually love to do a poll and see how many people actually get the regular iPhones as opposed to the Pro. I imagine
if all you
there
care about
probably
is the
are
high quality camera, you might not have to get the Pro phone. That's the thing. And it sounds like the prices are going to go up. So,
Yeah.
you know, I'm sure if they bring the higher quality sensor to the cheaper phone, that might convince a lot of people who are kind of on the fence to go the other way.
Yeah, I agree. I think it will convince a lot of people. Just none of those people will be listening to this show.
That's fair.
And if actually we could use the poll as a way to weed out the people that shouldn't be here, Lewis. So it's like a psych out, right? Well, we'll put the
Come
poll in
on,
the
it's
chat,
a big tent.
and then everyone who puts that they are getting the iPhone 15 will get the mods to respond appropriately to those people. Get out of here.
We love all of our listeners.
Don't put words in my mouth.
Okay. I love
joking.
all of our
Yeah,
listeners.
no.
I love you
I'm
all.
I'm with you. All right. Well, I for one will be going for I might be going for the Pro Max unless they up the price $200. I think it's time, Lewis.
They're too
time.
big.
I know, but I can't help it. Every once in a while, you got to go big, and just remind yourself why you don't like going big.
Yeah,
But
and then you just can't wait for the next year's phone to come out so you can switch it out again.
well, actually, it's a good like psychological trick to get yourself to upgrade every year, because you get the Max and then 2 months in you realize you made a huge mistake.
Instant regret.
And
Or you get the iPhone 7 Plus and you just hate it for a few years.
or you can do that, and then the next year when the iPhone gets upgraded, but the features are really not that different from the phone you already have, but you're like, well, I want to get the smaller phone. So, but the big thing I want more than anything else is a color that is not light blue or gray or white or gold.
Or purple gray.
What are you hoping for?
Gray
purple
purple.
or green. I want Buster Heine bronze. I want that bronze iPhone that we were promised, like a bold bronze iPhone with a matching frame color. You know.
Well,
And
they
a
came out
beautiful
with
orange action button.
They came out with the new Beats headphones in brown.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brown?
Yeah.
I don't realize
brown.
they did brown. I'm not sure I could get behind brown. It reminds me too much of the Zune. Remember the Zune?
Oh, the Zune.
The brown Zune, one of the most comical products of all time, right? First of all, you called it a Zune, and then you made a brown one that looked like a giant turd. Not sure I could get behind that. Deep brown.
Yeah, I didn't realize
San
it was brown.
Francisco brown, Lewis. San Francisco brown. How about
How do you
that?
think the marketing team would try to liven up the color brown?
Honestly, I'm not sure there's a way. Is there a cool
Murky brown.
Is there a cool marketing term for brown? There's just way too many memes. I don't know if you could do it. If they do make brown, I hope they call it Zune brown. That's the color.
Jeez, I didn't realize how muted the colors of those new Beats Studio Pro are.
Should I bring it
Black,
up?
deep brown, navy, and sandstone.
There you go. Sandstone. That might be it.
Man, they got infected with the Apple mute palette thing.
These are on, let's see. So these just came out, right? Let's take a quick look at the color. Let's see here. We'll go to Beats. We'll bring this up. Well, let's take a look at the new color Beats. There we go. I think those are it. Yeah, okay. We've got deep brown. Oh. Ooh, that's not a good brown. That is like a very reddish brown. I am not a fan of that at all. It almost
Ochre.
it almost looks burgundy. I mean,
yeah.
Not a fan
I
of
gotta
that.
say, it's weird. They used to always be like they would always have red and bright, vibrant colors, but now they're looking like
I'm just
iPhone
so
Pro.
Tired of this. I'm just so tired of this. Can you just give us a color that is bold? Just give us a bold color. Even if they did like neon yellow or something. for a Pro phone. Like, why do they always have to be these muted, boring, same colors every year? It's the same. It just drives me bonkers. Like, can we not do something here besides Mom's minivan blue or muted green or muted blue? I'm repeating myself. I do this every year, several times. I know. I'm
You
sorry.
get your hopes up, then no bronze phone arrives, and you sulk for a month.
I just want something new. Just something. I'm so tired of space gray. So tired. All right, let's move on. We're running out of time here. What do we got going on next? Hey, Lewis, you want to do the giveaway real fast? I think you're actually coming up next. Let's give the people some stuff.
Yeah, so this week we got another fantastic Apple accessory from Harbor London. One lucky winner is going to get a magnetic envelope sleeve for iPad. That name is that. Unlike some of these other product names, that one is extremely easy to understand. It's a magnetic envelope sleeve for iPad. It's handmade by expert craftsmen in Spain out of beautiful full grain leather and dense 100% wool felt. Comes with a magnetic closure, as you might have guessed from the name. Plus, it's got a little charge-through port, so you can plug in your iPad while you're charging it. A loop to hold an Apple Pencil on the inside. Comes in sizes for all current iPads. If you're the one lucky winner who gets this, you can pick the size and color, I guess. Protect your iPad from bumps and scratches, and look good doing it with the fantastic magnetic envelope sleeve for iPad from Harbor London. To enter the giveaway, which it's not like the post is not yet live. It's on its way. It should be there probably by the time the podcast comes out.
Yeah, so I'm showing the product page here that you sent me, but
it's gorgeous, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a beautiful case.
These look like, their products. I haven't actually used their products, but they look fantastic. This will be on the homepage of cultamac.com pretty soon. You scroll down to the Harbor London giveaway. Click on it. You'll find multiple ways to enter. As always, it's free to enter. And actually, right now, I think the current Harbor London one maybe is still live. I can never remember when the giveaway expires, but
me either. And we've been doing this for how long? No clue how
it doesn't seem to be on any kind of real strict schedule. But anyway, yeah, you got 2 days left to win the MacBook sleeve from Harbor London. So we'll probably there's going to be a little bit of lag time. Like you might listen to this and you might not be able to enter for the magnetic iPad sleeve, but enter for the MacBook sleeve, and then come back in a couple days and enter for the iPad sleeve. It's basically like Harbor London month. It's fantastic.
It's basically like free stuff because your odds of winning.
It's exactly like free stuff.
Are odds that I think you'll like. So if you go on to the cultamac.com website there, just scroll down to the giveaway, you'll see we have, like Lewis said, this one's not live yet. But you can enter for the other one, right? And
for the next 2 days.
For the next 2 days. And then come back, enter for this new MacBook sleeve. And you might actually win some. And the one we have going now is actually a good-looking case, too. Oh, this is the same company, Harbor London. Okay.
Yeah, right. That's what I'm saying. Right now, we got the MacBook sleeve. In a couple of days, we'll have the magnetic envelope sleeve for iPad.
Yeah, okay. All right, well,
I
will put a link to the giveaway in the show notes if you guys want to check it out. Should only take you, 10 seconds to do. And you might just win yourself something real special there. Let's see here. We got about 30-ish minutes left before I got to be walking these sweet buns out the door. Before we continue, I also want to give a quick shout-out. Do I have this open? Probably not. Let me look for it. Oh, yeah, here we go. I want to give a quick shout out to iPhone Life Tip of the Day newsletter. These come from our friends at Backbeat Media. We've got something for all you Apple enthusiasts and lifelong learners out there. Ever have a nagging feeling that there's more you could do with your iPhone, Lewis? Just every moment of every day. You're an expert. You don't
never
need this,
once,
but other people I think might find this useful. So if you want to know if there's more that you can do with your iPhone, but you don't know where to look, right? iPhone Life's free Tip of the Day newsletter serves up a tip every morning that helps you discover all those features you've been missing that Apple didn't tell you about, which is like 85% of them. There's so many tips built in that they just don't even talk about. They leave it to you to go figure it out. Here's how it works. Sign up for free at iPhoneLife.com/dailytips, iPhoneLife.com/dailytips. And iPhone Life sends you a 1-minute tip with clear steps and screenshots on topics ranging from typing tricks to emojis to password management. Free, practical, easy to follow information from a team of tech experts dedicated to helping you learn. You can't beat that. Join 500,000 happy subscribers to the only free daily newsletter that reveals new things that you can do with your iPhone in just 1 minute a day. Go to iPhoneLife.com/dailytips to sign up for free. iPhoneLife.com/dailytips to sign up for free. And I think I might do this too, actually.
That's pretty useful.
And then I'll just aggregate these into like a top 10 list. Boom, free content.
Oh, jeez.
I'll change the byline, of course, to my own name. But did I say that out loud? My bad. Anyway, thanks to iPhone Life for the promotion swap. They're promoting us. We're promoting them. It's this thing that we're doing to help grow our show and to help others grow their shows. It's actually pretty cool. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about, where is it? Should we talk about Vision Pro AR headset, Griffin? There's only really one reason I wanted to talk about this. I'll let you do the whole story, but I had an angle on it that I thought might be interesting, and that's why I put it in here. But go ahead and do the story, and then I'll jump in here.
I'm excited to hear your take on this. As we know, Apple is ramping up to the launch of the Vision Pro. They need developers to make apps on it so that when all of the reviewers get their Vision Pros next year, they don't say, oh, yeah, it's pretty cool, but you can't do anything. So they need developers to make apps. Developers can't really make apps, though, if they don't have the devices. Although, I mean, there's the Xcode simulator that we've talked about before. You know, when you're developing an app, you have like this cool little like 3D simulator of kind of what it's like. But you know, you're still using like a point and click mouse and a keyboard to simulate something you're supposed to be doing with your eyes and your fingers. So it's not really the same. So Apple has finally launched their, or I guess kind of unexpectedly soon, launched their program where developers can apply to test the apps that they've already been working on in person on an actual Vision Pro at a select number of locations around the world. I think like Cupertino, London, all the biggest cities. The application process is pretty fast. I have a paid developer account. I've almost developed an app or two in my day.
Oh, nice.
So of course I went through the
Congratulations.
application, although I don't think they're going to give me my my developer kit. Not that I would be able to. I don't know. If I suddenly stop talking about Vision Pro on the podcast, then you know that I've gotten my developer kit. But anyways, for the time being, I'm taking all of these stories. So yeah, you apply. You have to tell them about what app you're making. You have to tell them what experience you have with different frameworks, and like where if you have experience with like AR and VR coding before. And then you have to agree to somewhat hilarious terms and conditions. That's the crux of this story. It includes very tight restrictions that prevent it from being taken anywhere or being shown to anyone, not absolutely necessary. Sounds reasonable in the abstract, but then this is a direct quote. The kit will need to stay at its ship-to address in a private, secure workspace, accessible only by you and your authorized developers, says Apple. The developer kit must be, quote, enclosed with solid doors, floors, walls, and ceiling, and locks that can be engaged when the developer kit is in use. They don't say windows. So I guess if I take this in my office and I lock the door and, I double check that there's no false floor or false ceiling or anything, could I just leave the window open? That feels like an automation, but I guess when they say solid
use this thing
walls,
in my rickety old shack out in the swamp. This is discrimination. I don't understand. I thought Apple was beyond this, but what am I supposed to do? I don't have a door. My bathroom doesn't have walls. Where am I supposed to use this thing?
I think what you're missing, Griffin, is that you're not allowed to use this in any place with windows.
That's possible. I feel like they
Goes without
should have
saying.
specified that, but I don't know.
Only in a safe room, a panic room.
Those
That's for you.
using the Vision Pro for testing can't show it to anyone not on the developer team. Quote, you must ensure that unauthorized persons, including any family, friends, roommates, or household employees, which is a bizarre phrase, do not access, view, handle, or use the developer kit, Apple says. The AR headset must be password protected and never left unattended. When not in use, it must be locked up in its Pelican case that they mail you. And this, I don't think this is in the story, but I heard as well that if you plan to leave your house for 10 days or more, you need to contact Apple so that they can handle sending it back while you're gone, and then they'll send it back to you again when you get back home if you want to leave on a 10-day vacation or so. Developers will only be able to use the Vision Pro Developer Kit until 90 days after the device launches at retail, which is scheduled to happen early next year. At that point, they'll have to, buy their own versions of it and mail back the developer kit, which is kind of interesting compared to the rollout of the Apple Silicon Developer Transition Kit, which is like the little Mac Mini with an A12Z inside of it that developers could run ahead of the actual Apple Silicon launch. I think Steve Troughton-Smith was tweeting about this, that the computer that they sent you was like rigged to stop working after a few months.
Oh wow!
like it would actually, the computer would actually break inside, and you wouldn't be able to boot it anymore.
Start smoking and self-destruct.
Yeah, but the problem is, the first Apple Silicon Macs that they rolled out were like the base model MacBook Air, the MacBook Pro that was the same computer with a fan inside, and the crummy base level Mac Mini. He was like, I don't really want to buy any of these computers, but my developer transition kit is literally breaking. I won't be able to ship any of my software anymore if I don't buy something. And then Apple only gave you like a paltry $100 reimbursement that you could use to spend on their store. So he's causing like a fuss about that. It sounds like they've learned their lesson a bit here. They're giving you 90 days after they actually launch the thing to buy a Vision Pro. But as we were saying, they're not going to sell that many of them. They're probably going to sell it pretty fast. There might be a lot of developers who can't order one within 90 days shipped to their house. That's a possibility, especially because developers are all over the world, and I don't think we know which countries it's even launching in yet. This could anyways, Apple like to protect their new products, especially the brand new ones that haven't actually launched yet.
Protect in theory only. I mean, that's exactly why I thought this story was so interesting. And Level Remix from the chat was saying, didn't MKBHD say someone's going to put this on YouTube? That's exactly what I was thinking. I'm like, dude, the reward to get this on YouTube and showcase it and talk about the pros and cons is way too great to not have someone figure out how to do this. And all these rules that Apple puts in place, they all sound nice, but let's be honest. I mean, these developers probably are not equipped in many instances to have all the precaution that Apple would have, in their own headquarters. And so it's only a matter of time before we get a hands-on look at the Vision Pro and we have someone go through it, bit by bit, detail by detail, and give us our best look yet. Now, that person will probably be sued by Apple, but they could always claim somebody stole it from me. I mean, they broke into my four walls. They might have gone in through the ceiling. I don't know how it happened. But, what can the Apple do? If you claim that it was just taken from you, there's nothing they can do. I mean, they can't sue you for being robbed. So
they can still blacklist you from ever putting an app on the App Store anymore. They can revoke your developer account forever.
Well, they could do that. They could do that.
I don't recommend anybody does this, but it would give us stuff to talk about on the show.
That is a great point. Now, I like where your head's at. So if you get one of these things and you want to discreetly feature some of the details, we'd be happy to break those details for you. But yeah, I would imagine most of the developers obviously are going to be incredibly cautious because they wouldn't want to have their trusted relationship broken, shattered with Apple. If you had this thing leak, you're going to Gizmodo yourself big time. I mean, after that, you'll be done. I mean, you'll be blacklisted forever. You'll have Apple bodyguards dressed in all white in their white car following you around town, intimidating you. I wouldn't risk it, but if you want to, we're here for you. Let us know the details. We'll be happy to feature those things. All right,
yeah, your developer business might run out of business, but you'll get a good 20 minutes on a podcast.
Yeah, you'll also get
pros and cons there.
Thousands of views on YouTube, which would probably earn you hundreds of dollars at least to move on to your new life. I don't know if that's worth it for you, but could be. Consider it. All right, let's see here. We got to do these last two stories. Oh, we got some time. Do you want to move on and give them this really cool how to tell watch without your watch tip, Griffin? Does that make sense?
How to tell watch without your watch?
How to tell watch without your watch? That's what my brain...
Yeah, you can tell the time without your watch. So you go to... Well, no, you do still need to watch. But you go to the settings app on your watch. You scroll way down to clock. It's really far down in the settings app. You wouldn't think it would be. You scroll all the way down to clock. And you scroll down again, and there's this feature that you can turn on called Taptic Time. So the idea is, if you're in a meeting or something and you want to know at the time, but you don't want to do the obvious thing where you're looking at your wrist, or maybe you're on a podcast and somebody just keeps going on and on. You're like, God, what time is it?
I'll stop, Lewis. I know.
Incomprehensible.
That's a completely hypothetical situation.
Exactly
I
what you
wouldn't.
mean.
Yeah, but you turn that feature on, and then all you have to do is you tap on your watch once to like wake it up, and then you rest 2 fingers on it, and it'll tap the time on your wrist. So if it's like 1 o'clock, it'll do like 1 buzz for the hour, and then like another, few buzzes to read you out the minutes. You can do that entirely without looking at it. You don't even have to ask Siri and like have her shout it at you, and then your cover is obviously blown there. But that's just an example of one of the many how-tos that we do at cultofmac.com that I write several times a week. I'll be honest, I haven't been writing as many how-tos as I feel like I should be. But I also have these weekend pieces that go up almost every Saturday, although I don't know if I have one ready for this weekend. But anyways,
busted.
last weekend's 8 reasons you should ditch Spotify for Apple Music.
Well, hold on now. Don't just jump into this next one so fast. Let me just dive in real fast. I think you're selling yourself short. This is a hot tip, and this is not.
I had never heard of this.
I had never heard of this either. So if you're looking for a way to discreetly tell time without looking at your watch, this might be useful to you. And I will say I want to try this out to see how it works for the minutes, because if it's 11:59. Do you have to wait for it to tap you 70 times so that you know exactly what time it is?
It does 1 long buzz for an hour over 10. Then it does another 1 short buzz for 11. So it does a long buzz, short buzz to indicate 11, the 2 digits, 10, the 2 ones. And then it would do, I think, 5 long buzzes for 50, and then 9 short buzzes for 9. It's a lot of buzzing, but there are several different.
We're going to be here all day.
Different methods, right?
There's a lot of buzzing.
You can get it in Morse code.
Yeah, you can get it in Morse code.
Or
you can also get it in like an abbreviated one that has its own system.
For my
you can
time
have
in
it
the
like
swamps of Louisiana. Yeah, sorry, go ahead. We're trying to make Griffin's trying to be a serious reporter here, and we're making stupid jokes. Griffin, please don't let Lewis distract you with his jokes.
You can have it do like the precise time like that, where it buzzes like for every single minute, or you can have another setting where it rounds to like the nearest 15 minutes. That's a little less buzzing.
Okay, that makes a lot more sense. That's much better UX than I was thinking. I was like, especially if you have it in like military time, right? And it's like 23:59. I'm like, are you seriously gonna sit there and wait for this thing to buzz you 80 times? That would make no sense. But okay, I mean, I'm not really sure in my own life why I would need to use this feature. I guess if you're visually impaired, obviously that would be super useful. Or maybe you're in the movie theater, or you're in a meeting and you're trying to like figure out like how many more minutes you have to endure of this like bloated, long, purposeless, banter that you're being forced to endure, and you don't want to make it seem like you're being impatient, even though you are. It might be useful in that situation.
The only problem with doing it in a movie theater is that the screen needs to be on for you to do it first. You can't just rest 2 fingers on the screen while it's off to get it, which is kind of annoying because like you don't want to annoy other people in the movie theater. Like here's another hidden pro tip while we're at it. When you're in a movie theater, go to Control Center on your watch, and there's an icon of like a little like mask, like a like an old play or something.
Right?
Yeah, happy sad mask. You turn that on, and then the Apple Watch, even if you have the always on display, it goes off, and it'll, even if you like wiggle your wrist around, it'll stay off until you tap the screen. I recommend everybody should tune that on when they're in a movie theater, because even though it's not very bright, like you don't want a bunch of tiny little lights in your peripheral vision when you're in a movie theater and you're trying to watch Barbenheimer or whatever.
You know what? That would also be useful for wearing your Apple Watch to bed. If you wanted to just like, what I don't like is the sleep mode on the Apple Watch, and how you have to, at least I think it's been a while since I've used it, like hold down one of the buttons in order for the clock to show up, and it changes the face that you're used to, and I'm like, I don't want you to change the face. I want you to use the face that I always use. I just want the screen to shut off unless I tap it. So actually, that would be super useful, because you could just tap the screen to see what time it is, and other than that, the watch is the screen is off all night. Plus, it probably gives you better battery life, because like my screen on my Apple Watch is on all night, but I'm sleeping, so it'd be nice if the screen was turned off. So I think that's kind of a useful tip. That's a tip that you didn't even know you were giving me. Unbelievable.
Yeah, now I'm going to steal it and write that up as another how-to for next week.
But you better put your byline on that, no problem.
Better than the sleep mode.
Better than sleep mode.
Yeah, it's true. The sleep mode is annoying, right? Like,
Yeah,
because
I
it
hate
goes
it.
into sleep mode and you're trying to fall asleep or whatever, and then you want to change something on the podcast you're listening to, and you got to hold the stupid
Yeah.
digital crown in for what seems like an interminable length of time before it finally deigns to come back on. Yeah, I like that. It's a sleep mode hack.
Sleep mode hack. That's what you can call it. That's the title right there. Okay, look, we got 10 minutes left to go through why Griffin thinks you should switch from Spotify to Apple Music. I think that's going to be plenty of time for us to have this argument. Conversation. So I know you were trying to go into it earlier, Griffin. Take it away. What are the big reasons? Now, I will say it's been a little while since I've used Apple Music, so maybe there's some bangers in here. But it's going to take a lot to pull me away from Spotify. Like I said, there's one specific reason I love Spotify that Apple still to this point has not been able to compete with. So, but maybe these other features will get me. But go for it.
Okay, well, there is actually one feature that I will concede Spotify does better than Apple Music, and that is Spotify Rewind, or no, Spotify Wrapped. That's what it's called. Spotify Wrapped at the end of this year. It's like a whole social media thing. When everybody posts their Spotify Wrapped on social media, it's like the top. If you don't know, it's like the top songs that you've listened to all year, and because it's Spotify is an entirely cloud-based service, they can give you numbers that Apple Music can't give you. Like Spotify will tell you. Yeah, like one of my friends, he's in like the top 0.1% of everybody who listens to Lady Gaga. Like he's in the top 0.1% of Lady Gaga fans. That's like
not a metric I'd be proud of, but yes.
Wear that
that's
with
impressive.
a badge of honor.
I would, if I were. And you know what? My favorite band of all time is an extremely obscure band that they haven't put out an album in like 6 years, but they're called like Driftless Pony Club. They're an indie rock band. Exactly. Nobody's ever heard of them. They're kind of, honestly, nobody. I don't advertise this a lot because nobody that I've shown it to has ever enjoyed it. But I bet I'm probably in like the top 0.1% of Driftless Pony Club listeners. But Apple Music doesn't tell me, and that is one thing I will concede that Spotify does better.
Okay.
But why do I use Apple Music? So many reasons. I'm going to start with my personal number one reason.
This is a big one. I have to say, this is a big one.
Apple Music is built on top of the old iTunes music system, so it's incredibly easy to upload your own music and edit your own music. Even music that you add to your library through Apple Music, you can still edit the titles of, and you can use your own album art if you want to. Only the supremest of like nerds and pedants will like change the album art like me. But say you add like soundtracks to your library. I don't know why, but like every soundtrack in the world has like an extremely like unfriendly like album title that's like 20 words long. It's like, original soundtrack of Star Wars, whatever. It's like, no, I just want it to be called Star Wars. And I know that it's a soundtrack because I'm in the music app. So, I have a bunch of Star Wars soundtracks in my music library, and they're just called Star Wars, Return of the Jedi, stuff like that. It's really easy because you can just, on Apple Music, you just right click on any album and you click Get Info, and you can just change the album name, or you can change the composer name. If you have a collaborative album, like a collaborative song between like, this artist and this artist, and you're only really into artist A and you don't want artist B's name on the album, well, you just right click on it, click Get Info, and just get rid of it, and then you can just edit yourself. So
Hold on. You're going out of order of your list. So I'm going to retract my enthusiastic endorsement of what you're about to say, because I didn't know this is where you were going. Sounds cool, not useful to me, not something I ever need to do. Glad you like it, but I'm retracting. I'm retracting my endorsement of that feature. Okay.
Okay, I'll go on to what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Live lyrics. I think Spotify technically shows you the lyrics to a song, but on Apple Music it's so much better because it's the lyrics are live as you're listening. It'll show you like line by line, like you're on a karaoke machine. You can scroll through the lyrics and just tap on a word, and it'll jump to that part of the song. It shows you like the instrumental breaks in the middle of a song. So like, if you're listening to Pink Floyd and there's like a 12-minute gap in the middle of a song, you'll just see like the little 3 dots, and it won't show you the lyrics because nothing is actually being sung. You can skip ahead to where you want the words. It's so much better. And they even have a karaoke mode where at the tap of a button, it'll like lower the volume of the vocals separately from the rest of the song so you can sing along in the car with your friends. Coming in iOS 17, this is another cool feature. you can build a queue of music live in the car using SharePlay. So like, you pass
I
your,
wouldn't do
you
it in
don't
the
have
car.
to.
Maybe before you get in the car.
Oh yeah. Well, the thing is, like, you as the driver can just start it.
Uh-huh.
You're the driver. Your phone connects to your car system. You just have to start it once, and then everybody else can add music to the queue. You don't have to pass around
I
your
see what you're
unlocked
saying.
phone
That
to your
actually is cool.
friends.
That is cool.
You know.
Especially if you have like kids and they're like wanting to listen to music and they can
Hmm.
add stuff to the queue as you're moving along because you can only have one phone connected to the car at any one time. Okay, I'm with
Exactly.
you.
Exactly. So that feature is going to be huge when it launches. Or like,
Yep.
you're at a party too. People want to add songs to the party clip playlist, and
Mm-hmm.
like, you have to hunt down whose phone is connected to the thing, and you have to ask, and they, it turns out that they don't have the same music service as you, so you can't have you. Well, no, you don't even need to have an Apple Music subscription to be able to add songs to somebody else's queue,
Hmm.
which is really awesome.
That is
You just
useful.
scan the little QR code, and then anybody can add anything. So
Okay, hold on.
there are even more reasons, but
Anyone with an iPhone.
One, I just want to
you'll
message.
have to watch the video. And Irfan,
Oh, I thought you were
I
doing music.
cede the table to you.
Yeah, I just wanted to say real quick from the chat, Streamline and saying this could be just me, but I swear Apple Music sounds higher quality than other streamers. We're gonna get there. That is probably one of the biggest points of Apple Music, I think, over other streaming services. So sorry, continue, Griffin.
Well, streamlined, it might not just be you, because Apple Music actually does have lossless, uncompressed music that you can turn on. You go to
Yeah.
settings, scroll down to music, you can set audio quality, and you can have like high quality uncompressed music instead of the compressed stuff that everybody else uses. And Spotify has been saying that they were going to launch a similar thing for years now. They still haven't. And the rumor is it's going to be an additional service you have to pay for on top of your Spotify subscription. Whereas you can get lossless music on Apple Music for free today.
Yeah, dude, it sounds so much better. I mean, if you use Apple devices, HomePods, if you have AirPods, AirPods Max, the quality difference is very noticeable. I remember when I was doing some tests a while back with my AirPods Max, even my HomePods, and the difference in fidelity is really night and day. Apple Music, just like all of the stuff that they produce, all the Apple TV Plus shows, Apple Music, the amount of quality, I don't know why this is exclusive to them, but the amount of quality they're able to give you is just astounding. Like their content looks beautiful, it sounds beautiful, their music sounds better than everyone else's. It is just at a different level than what Spotify gives you. I fully can see that. That was actually between that and the lyrics feature, which is also a killer feature, especially if you like to know the words of the songs that you listen to. Between those two features, it really got me thinking like, okay, is it time to actually switch over? I still haven't done it. I'm still a Spotify user, but I'm leaning towards making a different decision, and before I wasn't even considering it. So I think those two features alone are killer features. Okay, what else we
I
got
just
here?
had a thought,
Yeah.
Erfan.
Yeah.
I mean, if people want to know the rest of the list, they're going to have to watch the video or read the article on our Cult of Mac YouTube channel or on cultofmac.com. But Erfan, I just had an idea.
Yeah. Hit me with it.
Spotify is raising their prices. What if you kill two birds with one stone, switch to Apple Music, and you also get the Apple One subscription that you've been avoiding?
I'm avoiding it on principle alone.
Jeez, come on.
Okay.
You know, I just
I'm also going to connect one more dot here. A few weeks ago, you were saying that you invested like $96,000 in Apple stock that is already worth like $175,000, and you don't want to pay 30 dang dollars a month for the cloud storage that you obviously need and the music service that you admit is better.
level remix and saying stay strong, air fun. Oh yeah, I'm not
Another
budging.
month before that, you were talking about,
You're just gonna make
oh
me dig
yeah,
in more.
I have an M1 Max MacBook Pro that's perfectly fine and suits all of my needs, but I might just, willy-nilly buy an M2 Max Studio and an M2 MacBook Air. Like,
I'm all about value. I'm all about the value proposition. So I'll spend money if you got a good product. I'll spend the money. But the thing that makes me mad about Apple is, and this is related to iCloud photo storage too, is they are purposely not giving you the service that you actually need to make you buy this basket of features that you probably don't need and you maybe don't want. I don't really give a crap about Apple News. I don't care at all about Apple Fitness. I pretty much don't care about Apple Arcade. So I'm spending all this extra money to get a lot less iCloud storage space, which is all I really need. And Apple TV Plus, sure, I would use that. Apple Music, I probably would use it. So they're making you buy all this extra garbage that I don't want. And that is what annoys me and what keeps me from giving them my money, because they're doing this on purpose to force you to buy something, and all they really need to do is just give you the extra storage. Like, that's literally all I need. And I actually think at this point they should be doubling storage anyway for the prices they're already charging. Like, if you're giving Apple $10 a month, I give Microsoft like my Office account, right? I have an Office account, and for $80 a year, they give me 6 terabytes of storage space. How the hell is Microsoft giving me 6 terabytes of storage for $80 a whole year, and Apple's charging me $120 for 2? Come on, that's what I mean. Like I don't know if they haven't thought this through from a product design perspective. They probably have, and they're trying to push you into spending more money for products that you don't have. That's my only reason I don't do it. I'm not saying that Apple One isn't useful, because there clearly are some things in there that are, like Apple Music. I would probably switch, although...
So your problem is that they give you too many things?
They give me things that I don't want.
Mm.
There's too many things that I don't want mixed in, and so you're paying a higher price.
Charge you for things you
They're
don't
charging
want.
me for things that I don't want. The price is higher, but I get less of the things I actually need.
I feel like even if they didn't have some of the things that you don't want, like even if they didn't have Fitness Plus or News Plus, it would still cost the same amount of money, because they know that users only actually care about like 3 or 4 out of the 5 things you get. It's just that price is amortized across all of the things.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I look at it this way. Sorry to beat a dead horse here. Like, I need more storage, right? So my iCloud storage is $10 a month. If I were to get that same level of storage, which is 2 terabytes, I think I have to pay Apple $35 a month plus tax.
$32.95.
$32.95. So I'm paying almost $40 with tax for the same amount of storage space. It's triple
But then you can
cost.
take off the $16 that you'd be saving on Spotify, though.
Well, I'm not actually paying $16 a month, because I split it with my friends. So we have a family account, and we're all paying like $5 a month. So it ends up being really cheaper. Yeah, you're right. That would make a big difference in the cost calculation. But the thing about Spotify that I can't pull myself away from is there's just... Do you ever walk into a room and it just has a vibe that you like? That's what Spotify is for me, man. Like, I go into the Spotify space, the app, and it just has this vibe that I really like. I can see what my friends are listening to, although that's a feature I don't really use all the time. But its discovery features, I feel like, are still far superior to Apple's. Like, if I create a playlist based on a song, Spotify is able to figure out other tracks that it should put in that playlist that I may like, and it does that better than Apple does. Apple's discovery is still not as good, and then there are
That is, I'll admit, what a lot of people have been saying in response to the video. That
is the killer feature, and if Apple solved that problem, then I think I'd be more on board to actually switch, because of all the other benefits. Plus, it's just a native Apple product. I mean, it just feels like it belongs in the Apple ecosystem, but the app is like walking into like a very sterile environment. Like, the way the UI is set up, for some reason, I just feel like it has no soul. It just feels like this empty, sterile. It's like going to the DMV. It's like very process oriented and
much cleaner than the DMV.
Well, it's definitely cleaner. Well, that goes without saying. But it just feels like it was constructed with less heart, and I don't know. There's probably some design language I could use to explain why that is. I don't know why that is. I just feel like when I walk into the Spotify app, I'm like, yeah, I'm in a cool vibe. I'm in a cool zone with my friends, and I want to be in this place. And that's not how I feel when I use Apple Music. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. What do you guys think, chat? I don't know, man.
Well, what you call heart, I call a crummy web app that doesn't look like it fits on the Mac.
Well, yeah, that you mean with Spotify. I think that's probably a fair criticism. It doesn't feel like it's like a Mac app or an Apple app, but sometimes I feel like that's a good thing. I don't know. But look. We got 2 minutes still. We can't keep going. We could. I knew we were gonna go long on this, and I could probably do another 10 minutes with you. I'm enjoying this back and forth, but we got to go ahead and wrap up there, because I got to be walking out the door in about 2 minutes. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. But you know what? The party continues. Me and Lewis, we're on the new X.com.
Jeez.
We're ready to go X'd. So come check out our X's and our re-X's. How bad is this? So bad. It's just so terrible. What were they thinking? You know what? Griffin, he's on Mastodon. He's one of their top users there. Out of like the 50 or 60 people that use Mastodon, he's at the very top with his tweets. You can just search Griffin Jones on Google Mastodon to bring that up. We're going to go ahead and wrap up there. That's all the CultCast we have for you guys this week. I want to thank everyone for listening and for hanging out live. New episodes of the CultCast come out every Thursday night. I want to thank everyone for listening, and we'll see you guys next time. That ending is a disaster. I don't know what happened, but I feel like every week that I do it, it just gets worse, and I remember slightly less of what I used to do. And
Nothing to be worried about.
And the next 3 or 4 weeks, it's just going to be completely gone, and we're going to just be ending with grunting noises. Even though I don't want to, and I'm trying not to, I feel like I'm going full Caney. And I don't know how to prevent it. Too much of that dumpster opium. It'll get you. All right, everyone. I'm hurling towards the end stream button as we speak. Hit the like button on your way out. Probably should have mentioned that an hour ago. Bye, y'all.